stills that will cause us to have some difficulties. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but welcome to everyone. As we go through, we're going to try to remember to give slide numbers every now and again to keep everybody on track with us. We'll do questions at the end, and when we get to that part, if you have a question about a particular slide, if you could write that slide number down, and then that way there we can all quickly turn back to that to see about your question. The other is that as we talk today, whether it's in the lecture or in the questions and answers, if you hear something that gives you pause, that for some reason makes you think you're not doing something quite the right way, don't change the way you do things because Jill, the speaker, said so, or any other speaker. Please go and research what we've said, check the policy, make sure I said it right, that you heard it right, that it is in effect, and that it does apply to you the way you thought it did, so that if you make a change, it is because the rules or the policy have instructed you to, and not something that you heard from a speaker, because sometimes you can mishear, or I can misspeak. So just want to kind of always throw that out there. As we look at our slide number 3 and the details of implementation, if you've printed off your slides in color, you'll notice that I have, some pretty good colors going there, and I'm hoping not to have to add any more colors. As I said, delays are certainly possible, but at this point, I think we're past the majority of our concern. We know that our ICD-10 is a drop-dead date, if you will, for date of service. The October 1st, 2015, all claims will have to be coded with the ICD-10 system on and after that date. There are some exceptions and things we have to have consideration for that we can see on slide number 4, and there's a MedLearn Matters that addresses how exactly we need to look at, for example, charges that go over the date line, such as in the emergency department where their charges are for a time frame. It's a singular code, and you could go into the ER on September 30th, but your service isn't completed till October 1st, and how are we going to handle those? And so there's information out there for us in those rare instances where we have care over the date line. But as we look at slide 5 and the need for ICD-10, I think the biggest thing is we have no room for codes. We just don't have room for codes. The other problem that I see is that we do use outdated and obsolete terminology, so that we end up in some instances with inaccurate codes or data that is skewed, perhaps even limited because of the type of information we are collecting. On slide number 6, we see that ICD-9 is 34 years old, and when I give this lecture in person, invariably there's someone in the room that raises their hand to tell me that they aren't 34 years old, so that means that I've been coding longer than they've been alive, so that's never a fun thing to see, but it shows you it's been within our lifetimes that the ICD system has been used. Now, the ICD-9 system does not comply with our HIPAA standards. We are out of compliance with our own sets of rules, which say that both the ICD-9/ICD-10 system and the ICD-9/ICD-10 guidelines are the coding